Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Picks and Sticks podcast, a fun music podcast where four great friends talk about the music, bands, and songs that they love. I'm Moro.
I'm Gordo.
I'm Cecil.
And I'm Huff.
And this is Picks and Sticks. On this episode of the podcast, we bring you 10 great songs from Rage Against the Machine.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Picks and Sticks. We've got, you know what we've got, boys? We've got ourselves, I'll tell you, we've got a jam-packed episode today. We've got some news about some upcoming episodes, so I think what we'll do is get directly into it. Now, in the Medicine at Midnight album review, we promised you some Gord's Pouch. We will deliver on that.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Now, first, a couple quick reminders. Email address is picksandstickspodcast@gmail.com. That is how you can get a hold of us and perhaps end up on an episode. We can address that as part of Gord's Pouch. Our playlists are available on Apple Music, YouTube Music, Spotify. So it's basically our top 20 songs plus the deep cuts. You'll find those links to the playlists in the show notes. And if you use Deezer, our good friend and fan of the show, Michael O'Coin, has created the playlist there as well. Feel free to follow us on Instagram, Picks and Sticks Podcast. And at the end of the show, stick around because we've got some new format ideas we're going to let you in on. So there we go. With that being said, I'm excited about Gord's Pouch. I think we've got a great email, and it really ties in with today's artist. So, Gord, why don't you take it away, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Right on. Thanks, Huff. Well, we do have a few entries into the pouch this week. We're going to do one this week, however, and this is from Christine, I believe. Hey, guys. Nice. I'm a huge fan and never miss an episode. Well, that's very nice. I often hear you talk about covers. Wondering if you would consider doing a podcast dedicated to your favorite cover songs. Keep up the great work.
Nice.
What do you guys think of that? An all covers Picks and Sticks episode.
And I'll just say too. Sorry.
Oh yeah, just railroad Cecil.
She wants us to play them.
Shut up, Cecil. Shut up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe we're gonna record some music over at Moro's, and that'll be a disaster. But a great tie-in because the band Rage Against the Machine is today's band, and they've got a full album of covers. But I think covers is a great idea.
I like that idea.
I like this idea a lot.
I like it.
Yeah,
we have to figure out if we're doing cover songs or we doing cover albums. I think there's a lot of material, right?
You know what? I think that would be we'd have to do a few volumes. We'd have to do volume 1, volume 2. I don't think you could do it all in one.
Mm-hmm. You could do most improved cover.
Because that's our golden rule, right? If you're going to talk about a cover tune, it's got to be better than the original. Or at least acceptable.
I got to bend that rule a bit if it's a really good song.
What if we did an episode of like worst cover songs? We could do that too. Like what botch jobs are out there, and there's
so many.
You might want to.
It's endless.
It is endless. You can start with Tori Amos's "Smells Like Teen Spirit" and then kind of go from there.
Oh, you just made me angry.
But cover songs, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Because I know we didn't prepare for this, but off the top of your head, if you had, and not talking about anything that we're going to talk about with this band, outside of Rage Against the Machine, if you had to pick a cover song off the top of your head, Gord, what do you got? I see you nodding.
I'm going way out in left field, boys. I'm going to go with Johnny Cash had the most incredible cover album ever.
Yes.
He did a 9 Inch Nails song.
Hurt.
As well as he did Soundgarden, but he did Hurt, and I thought it was an amazing addition.
I forgot he did Rusty Cage. I forgot about that too.
I'm going to break my rusty cage.
That's a great album.
Yeah, it is a good album. Who else? Anyone else? Any other?
Rush has one of the best cover albums ever because it's amazing. Because it doesn't sound like Rush, but they play 2 Who songs, "Summertime Blues."
I've heard
they play Mr. Soul, Neil Young. For
like
what it's
song.
worth. who's that? Buffalo Springfield. Yeah,
I think so.
That it's phenomenal. It kind of was my segue into liking Rush. I never really listened to them, but after I got through their cover album, bit of a Rush fan.
I might have to give that a listen. More, have you got anything off the top of your head?
Yeah, Green Hell by the Misfits.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah,
covered by
Die, My
Metallica.
Darling.
Covered by Metallica.
Yeah, there's
And-
a few there.
Metallica has a lot of good covers.
They do.
They do. I'd second that. Absolutely.
Yeah. See, and
They
Van's got a few.
have some obscure covers, songs that you think they actually wrote that are cover songs.
Oh, what is that? Is it the
Blitzkrieg?
Am I Evil?
Cramps? No. Who's I fucked a cat.
We talked about it on a previous
So what?
podcast. Soundgarden covering
So what? That's a
Soundgarden
nasty
covering
song.
Into the Void. Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah, that you know what,
Yeah.
they did a nice
Still
job
heard
on that. I was just thinking, like, I could do a whole episode on Me First and the Gimme Gimmes alone, because that's all they are. They only do covers, and they've done like Jolene. They did a whole country album, which was really good. Like, they've got a ton of stuff. We could. Oh, you know what else we could do? That song just popped in my mind. It's a Michael Jackson song. Smooth Criminal, Alien Ant Farm. You could do like one hit wonders, because like the Ataris did it, that Boys of Summer, which was awesome.
Oh, that's a great
Right?
cover.
We could do like one hit wonders, or bands that you've never heard from ever again, because like their biggest hits were probably those songs. There's
A
probably
couple
some
years
good shit there.
ago, Weezer came out with a whole album of covers, and the funny thing there was they tried to make it sound as exact to the original as
Oh
possible.
yeah, they did that Toto song.
and
I
it's
thought it was
hilarious.
Toto.
And some people are like, well, this doesn't sound like Weezer. I'm like, that's the joke. They're doing it exactly like the original artist. It was amazing. They do Michael Jackson. They did, the Toto song. They did a lot of good stuff on that.
Maybe
Really?
that's what Van Weezer will be.
Maybe.
Van Halen covers.
Oh,
Yikes.
there's
Did you imagine?
there was there's
Weezer doing Jump?
Yeah, that's a death wish. I don't think that's a very good idea to go and do
I'm on
that.
board.
But I've heard one of the first single off that album, and I don't believe it's a cover song. I could be wrong. The other song that just popped in my head was the Chili Peppers did "Higher Ground," that Stevie Wonder tune.
That was a great.
That was a good
So I
one,
guess-
too.
Little Miss
I guess
Lover
that's-
by Jimmy. They do that one too. At the end of
that's right.
At the end of Blood Sugar
Yes.
Sex Magic, they added two. It's not on my original CD, but they added two. There was,
Yeah.
what was it? It was Little
I didn't
Miss
know
Lover. Oh, and there's another
I
one
don't
they
remember
do.
the other one.
Castles Made of
I didn't-
Sand, Jimmy. They do that one too. What's at the end of it? I got it right here.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Really? I didn't know that.
I guess that's
Well-
2 huge, or that's 4 huge thumbs up. On
I think
the,
so.
On the app, let's
I think
pencil
so.
that in. Some
Yeah, as we're spitballing ideas too, I just thought of cover songs that you didn't know were cover songs, because there's a whole bunch of those out
there's
there
a
as
lot of
well,
those.
right?
But what if we still don't know? How would we do it?
Well, I know, and you could like, Cease, that Fuji song, "Killing Me Softly," that was amazing too. God, okay, I gotta get off. I'm out of control. I'm a snowball rolling downhill here. I just can't stop firing out different cover songs that pop in my mind. So
Don't you just love it though when an artist that you really like does a song, also a song from another artist that you really admire, and they do it awesome? Like it just, I
Yeah.
don't know what it is, just makes you feel good. It's just fucking awesome.
well, that goes back to, like, I don't know if you guys had a chance to check it out. We talked about it the last episode, the Medicine at Midnight album review. Mississippi Queen.
Oh right,
What-
By Mountain.
that was solid. I checked that out, Huff.
Yeah, they did such a good job, and that riff is so cool. Like, that is such just a kick-ass song. Now that's a tricky one, because the song is so good on its own. It's hard to do a better job, and you could probably argue whether or not they did it better or not, but it's pretty fucking close if it's not better.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Nice.
all right, so I think we're going to go with that, and that leads us really from the cover songs, and if I wasn't sort of clear, I guess when I first mentioned it, this band has a full album. Their last album called Renegades was all cover songs. We'll get into that a little bit once we start talking about the specific songs. But the band itself, Gordo, I would say you were the closest person to seeing them live. You do have tickets in hand, and coronavirus fucked that up. Is that fair?
Totally fucked it up, brother.
Yeah.
I bought the tickets, just over almost a year and a half ago. They were going to play here June of last year. And then, which I was just absolutely shocked because they were on my bucket list of bands that I miss seeing live.
Yep.
And then I heard they were going to get together. No one said they were going to. And they got together. Tickets came out. They were expensive. It did not matter. Got a couple. And then, coronavirus totally delayed that. So they have it tentatively booked for this June, but that's not going to happen.
It ain't going to happen. I don't
By the
think.
time they come back around, they're going to be broken up again. So I have a little bit of hope, but
Yeah.
it's killing me, brother. I gotta see him.
But you didn't take the refund, so the hope is still there. You didn't take the refund.
Didn't take the refund. I don't even have great seats, but I got them, right?
Yeah.
You should get
Those
better
seats were
seats. You should get
expensive.
better seats for not taking the refund. They should move you up.
They should move me up.
Yeah, all
You're
the
exactly right.
all
That's
the
a good call.
all the people who didn't take refunds should get reseated.
You're damn straight.
Hey,
Yeah, I
or an
wonder.
option to move up at like minimal cost.
yeah.
I wonder
How
how
many
many
people
people
took
took it.
Just pay the upgrade.
Pardon me?
How much were those tickets?
They were, I believe, they're about $185 each.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting upper deck, back a ways, boys. So they were not cheap.
Wow. But it's one of those things, right? Like, you got to pay the freight sometimes to see this band. Like you said, who knows if they're going to make a new album, if they're going to tour again. Is this their last tour?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? You kind of have to, you gotta do it while you can, I suppose.
I absolutely. Like, I would have paid a lot more too, truth be told. They're just, it's like if you haven't seen the Stones, I mean, you've had lots of opportunities to see the Stones, but, it's just one of those bands for me. If I had to guess, I'm probably the biggest Rage fan of the four of
In
us.
the world?
I would agree with the first statement. I would agree with the former, perhaps not the latter. But you know what I found was, I like the band. I hadn't listened to them in a while. I got back into them. I enjoyed the music and that. But it was you, Gord, that said, "Oh, you got to watch the set from Woodstock '99, I think, right? Woodstock
That's right.
'99." Mm-hmm. And I watched that, and it was awesome. And then I watched, I can't remember where it was, but it was another live concert. It was a shortened. It was about 36 minutes or something that I watched of it. And again, like, they play these huge. There were huge festivals, right? Like
Yeah.
like
They play
tens
a
of
lot of big
thousands,
shows.
if not hundreds of thousands of people. And awesome. So now, after I watched that, I was kind of like, I probably should have got tickets, because I remember going, should I or should I not? Because I had major regret for not getting tickets to Audioslave when they came through.
Maybe you'll have your chance here, buddy. Maybe you can
So-
buy mine as I do the upgrade.
My sister saw them at Coachella, and she didn't. It was actually, she didn't like it because it was a bit. They headlined the final band, and it was really bad vibes. There was like near riots. She said like it was more of a hippie atmosphere, but as they got closer to Rage, there's like Rage Against the Machine fans were acting up and yelling, being obnoxious to the police and security. So I guess it came to a near head the night before they played, where there's like more of the hippie groups kind of convince police to stay out of sight, because there's a lot of young kids that are like, "Fuck you, won't do what you tell me," running around acting like punks. But said the
That's too bad.
concert was good, but how's this for poor planning? The freaking band they played before was the Crowded House Reunion.
Are you serious?
You got to read the story. Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
They got pummeled with debris. They got booed and hit off stage. Like that's just, you could have put them in front of a worse crowd, hey, to get back together.
That sounds like a perfect slot for the Misfits reunion, not Crowded House.
Yeah,
I agree. Right? 'Cause people are going to be
that.
trying to get to the front of the stage.
Right?
So you want to get there early, right? So you're up
it's
there
all
with
Rage
Crowded
fans. No
House.
Crowded House fans anymore, are there?
I don't think so.
If they are,
Was
they're
there
probably
ever
old
Crowded
people
House
at the
fans?
back.
I think someone must have hated those guys. That's crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my God.
Well,
Men Without Hats weren't there, were they?
Oh,
Rage.
love them. Vinyl in the house.
The Proclaimers would have been good.
Proclaimers could play one
They could
song
play.
and leave.
Yeah, they could play their
Oh, no, they
two
had two.
songs.
They had two. We've established it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the other one hit one?
What was the other one? Yeah.
Australian guys.
Oh my God!
Midnight
they're
Oil.
Scottish, right?
Yeah, they're Scottish. I call
No,
them.
the other band I'm thinking of.
Oh,
They were
you're not talking about
Australians.
Proclaimers because Proclaimers had
Midnight Oil.
the 500 miles, and then there was the other one. Gord, you were singing it the other day.
Oh shit, I can't remember it now. But just singing 500 miles is fine. I can walk 500 more. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that before? Bulls on parade. Like, I
Dun,
can't.
dun, 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 dun.
It's the same thing as Crowded House, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rage seems to be one of those bands too that I was really looking forward to seeing, not just because I really like their catalog, but they're one of those few bands that seems to be better live from everything that I can determine, you know. And a lot of bands are as good live as they are on CD, and you're like, oh yeah, they're really good. But there's those few bands like, you know, like Zeppelin or Nirvana or stuff like that that just seem to like shine when they're playing live, and everyone seems to say the same thing. Like they're never disappointed, always a great show.
Well, they
Yeah.
they must sound really good after something so strong. Who are you telling me?
That's good, man.
Oh,
Sorry.
God.
I don't know if you
see
guys.
them. I'd love to see them live. Their band is amazing.
Crowded House?
Rage is,
I thought we were still talking about Crowded House.
Rage is interesting in that their very first ever show they recorded and they played it in the daytime outside at UCLA. And I caught it on YouTube. I just saw it a few weeks ago and I couldn't believe it. And so it's all their songs on their first album, but they hadn't made the album yet. So they're arranged differently and some lyrics are different and stuff, but it was really good. I was quite shocked at how good it was. And people are walking by to say, hey, what's going on? That guy seems angry.
Guy seems angry.
By the end of it, people seem to be really rocking out. So
That doesn't seem like
check it out.
That doesn't seem like the type of band that you're just walking by going, huh? When you're hearing "fuck you, I won't do what you tell me," or
Yeah.
screaming, you get a bullet in your fucking head.
Yeah, they do.
You know,
They
right?
do those songs too, which is incredible. It's like literally, it's like noon on like a Friday or so. Like it's literally like in the middle of the day. It's sometimes.
And how many
it's
people are
hilarious.
there?
It's hard to see. There's
Hard
like a
to tell.
beer garden stuff. I'd say at least 500, between 500 and 1,000. So
Okay.
decent crowd.
Now I want to ask if we can move on. Read a couple of articles, and it kind of, well, actually, something came up on one of my feeds. I don't remember, social media feeds, and it was some donkey from Korn talking about how they invented this style of music, right?
Korn did or Rage?
Korn did. They were taking credit for this type of music, although they were calling it new metal, like NU metal.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I'd put Rage into that category. So if you want to separate them that way, but did Rage invent or create a new kind of music, or did they take something and just improve upon it? Sorry to throw that out at you.
No,
out of
I
the
don't
blue.
think that. I don't think they. No, they didn't create it. For sure, they didn't create it. They
Was Fatal
definitely
more
put,
before them.
Who's the band that
Yes.
the one thing that they did do was Tom Morello basically was the DJ with a guitar,
Yeah.
which that had never been done. So that's like super unique.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, like License to Ill. There's the Urban Dance Squad, Run DMC,
Yeah.
Anthrax, and Public Enemy. There was a lot of rap metal things that happened before them, but
Is this rap
None
metal
really
or is
owned
this
it.
something more than that? It's certainly more political. I mean, that's
think-
kind of stating the obvious.
I think they're a stepping stone to the new metal. I definitely wouldn't include them in that. And Rage would seriously have a problem if they were thrown into that group. But I don't see how I don't see how Korn and like Limp Bizkit happen without Rage. There's a possibility that those bands
Yeah.
wouldn't have existed. Perhaps. I don't want to blame Rage for those bands.
I was gonna say there's a lot of people that'd be happy if there was no Limp Bizkit.
But that's on you, Rage.
I thought the first Korn came out before the first Rage.
Nope. I don't believe.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure.
believe
it
so. We're
Research
gonna fact
team.
check.
Let's
Research.
get our
yeah.
research
But, I,
team.
but I,
Lay
I would
those
say
assholes
no. They're not new metal. They're not new metal at all.
No,
No.
Like Rage uses a lot of bluesy tones, like and notes.
yep.
The guitaring is pretty bluesy. Be more like influences from Eddie Van Halen, Tony Iommi, at least for the guitaring.
That's true. I mean, Rage openly says that, or Tom Morello openly says that Sabbath was a huge influence on him, and therefore Rage. And Zach De La Rocha doesn't like Sabbath that much, and he brought his own thing, and it kind of combined into what they did. But you're right. There's a lot of blues in Rage, and I mean, you can enjoy them on different levels too, right? Like when I first started listening to them, it was just the passion and the raw energy and the incredible heavy riffs. Like I loved it. And it wasn't until years later that I kind of enjoyed them a little more thoughtfully on the lyric side of things, because he's a great lyricist as well. But I didn't really know that at the time. I just enjoyed the fuck you.
I think he's a good lyricist.
I do.
Like I love the band, but I honestly I think he's not a good lyricist at all.
Really? I think it's his delivery that you might not like, but his actual lyrics, like, hungry people don't stay hungry for long. That's a clever.
They sound a little different
That's a
when
clever
you
lyric.
read the lyrics.
It's true.
Well, and the songs really don't have. Sorry.
Pop.
Yeah. the songs
some of that.
don't have a lot of lyrics to them, right? The thing that I found that can, depending on your mood, get a little bit annoying is the repetition. It's a lot of repetition. So when you look at the lyrics, there might be like two verses and then the chorus repeated 38 times, or if you want to call it the chorus, or at least, components of the song that just continually repeat. That's not for every song, but
Most
not,
of them seem to end with Zach screaming the song title at
Yeah.
you, like
yeah, freedom, wake
Did-
up.
yeah.
It can
bullet
be a
in
bit
your
much.
head. It's
Yeah.
just take the song title, throw it at the end, and just yell at me.
Yeah.
You could make the comparison to Nirvana too. Like Kurt Cobain did that an awful lot, and he
Yep.
got the same criticisms. Or a lot of his choruses were like 3 words or whatever, the same line repeated, and he did a lot of his endings the same way. And a lot of people don't like Nirvana for the same reasons. But Zach De La Rocha, he can
You
grade
made
on
that
you.
up.
Zach De La Rocha can grade on you. There's a lot of righteous screaming at the end of his songs that are not for everybody. I totally get that.
Yeah, he's, we've talked about other bands, like Axl, his voice, he can make or break a song sometimes. Even like David Lee Roth can do that. Chris Cornell, like there's a bunch of guys that we've talked about that. I think Zach is in that category as well. I find Tom Morello is in that category for me as well sometimes. Like sometimes I just want him to like just give me a fucking soul. And I get that he's the DJ, so they're using that sort of hip hop component and he's in some ways effectively the DJ. But there are sometimes for a guy that skilled and I love a lot of his riffs and all that shit, sometimes I just like to hear him give me a straight up guitar solo.
What do you think of that, Morrow?
I don't think it was ever. I think the way that they play, and I've watched a lot on this because I love the band. There's some things that drive me nuts about them, like any band. But if you notice how they play, they don't there's no melodies, there's no chords, there's no real, so there's no real canvas for him to solo on, and I think that's why he came up with all these unique sounds.
Maybe
Because, if they play the song in F, it's in F, and it's F, 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 F.
Lots of F's in their music.
Lots of F's in the lyrics too. And he'll be the first to say it. Like when he went to Audio Slave, he went. Now he's got a guy with a voice that is insanely melodic.
Yeah.
And he had to learn to play chords again. And so it's two different things. This band was never, I don't think it was set up for like guitar solos and that kind of shit. Like,
All right.
I know
Let
one
me
of
ask
his
you-
idols was Randy Rhoads, and Randy Rhoads is an amazing soloist, and Eddie Van Halen. So he was shredding when he was a kid.
Yeah.
But the way that this band set themselves up and what they wanted to play was so different.
How do you
for you-
feel? How do
Sorry,
you
go
feel
ahead.
about the way that he carries his guitar and doesn't cut the strings? How do you feel about that?
His Strat
Don't like it.
necklace.
Don't like it. Don't like it.
So I finally
I love it. I think it's awesome.
I hate it.
did you hear the explanation? I just heard this a couple days ago because our timing was kind of interesting on this because we had agreed, we've got a list going. So we knew we were going to do this a long time ago, but Morello just happened to be on Stern. I don't know if anyone caught that.
Yeah, I
So-
did. It was good.
So the guitar is at the same height as if when he sits down. So when he's sitting down and he's jamming, like he's in his room practicing, whatever, it's at that same height. So that's the reason behind it.
And-
I think
and
it looks stupid. You got to drop that thing down at least 8 inches.
To a foot, brother.
You're right.
He-
That's what I mean. At least.
He's a mature guitarist. Immature guitarists have it hanging down below their balls.
By their
you know?
knees.
And do you know why he
It's
has it like
it's
that
not as
also?
efficient to play it that way. It's a
true.
poser. His
Yeah.
technique works better. I
Like,
found
look at
this every
James.
year I get older, the strap gets shorter.
He said that
I play.
We're not
it
going to be able to
yeah.
see your chin soon.
he said when he was learning the guitar, for those that don't know, he went to Harvard and was taking political studies and whatnot, but he still
Same.
managed to practice his guitar 8 hours a day. And that was his goal. I have to practice. And he was very obsessive about it. Got to practice 8 hours minimum every day.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. And he did this for I think it was about 4 years he maintained that pace. That's pretty incredible. 8 hours a day is like a full work day for most people.
Yeah, I read
a lot of the guitar, man.
Did somebody mention? I don't know if we read it. Zach Wilde. It was like a 12-hour day in his room growing up.
No.
Just
No.
12-hour
Didn't know that.
shifts playing guitar. Yeah.
Oh, he's sick on guitar. Ridiculous.
All right. So
The thing about, I just want to say one more thing, because a lot of people, because of the way the music sounds, a lot of people think he's using tons of effects on the guitar, and he's really not. And
it's 2 pedals.
yeah, 2-3 pedals probably. Like he'll use a couple delays, which is normal. Any guitarist would use delays. He uses that Digitech whammy, right? The Edge uses it a lot
Uh-huh.
in his stuff.
Is he using a wall?
And the wah
Yep.
pedal, yeah. So
Like
all
straight out of
the
Jimi
sounds,
Hendrix.
the wicked part is all the sounds that he comes up with he's just absolutely doing weird shit on the guitar
Yeah.
that's never been done before.
That's why the live shows are really cool because you can actually see some of the stuff he's doing. I appreciated that a little bit more, but I did find when you're listening to hours and hours and hours of Rage that there comes a time when you want to strangle somebody.
Yeah, but is it any different than if you listen to like some of the hip hop stuff? Is
Yeah.
like that. Even when we're listening to Tribe Called Quest, there's songs where you're like, that's not very melodic. It's almost kind of Gangstar is the same. Like there's a lot of
Gangstar is a lot like that. Yeah.
a lot like that, right? So
Yeah.
I was going to
What-
say, we talk a lot about Zach and Tom Morello, rightfully so, because they're the focus of the band. But I want to throw the drummer and bass player a little love, Brad Wilk and Tim Comerford. I think that rhythm section is one of my favorite. I put it right up there. Not as skilled as Zeppelin, but as far as some of the riffs that the bass player gets credit for, he wrote a lot of the basses for a lot of their good songs. And I love the drummer. He's a heavy hitting motherfucker. and he just lays down a heavy drum track and stays out of the way because there's a lot of other shit happening. A lot of guys would, overfill and he just lays down a nice, easy, heavy drums. And I like both of them a lot.
Well, it's crazy. Like when you think about how heavy and how thick that sound is, again, for all intents and purposes, because they've got a vocalist who only does vocals, right? So for all intents and purposes, they're a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And they're all awesome. And I think when you see them live, it really comes together. Now, before we move into the list, I just wanted to quickly add, and you touched on it, Gord, just one last quick question. If we can do this quickly, I don't know. I might be pushing for time here, but first time you heard them, or
I'll never forget,
or a memory that that kind of springs to mind.
Do you mind if I go, Morrow? Because mine's fresh, buddy.
Yeah, go.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll never forget their album, their self-titled album. It came out, I believe, 92, and I was at the Vousner's house. And I think I've told this story before on another podcast. Do you remember his mom used to work at that speaker company?
Yeah.
And so the Vows had like that insane speaker set up in that little shitty house of his.
Yeah.
Well, either he or his roommate bought that CD and they're like, dude, you have to listen to this. I'm like, really? We want to go out. Goes, no, let's just listen to this. And they put it on. And the first song on the first album, I believe, is Bomb Track. And I just sat there in awe. And then we just listened to the entire album without talking. My mouth was open, especially that when they got to the, fuck you, I won't do it. You tell me. I was like, can you say that on an album? Like, can you sell that? Like,
yeah. Can you say that many times on an album?
I was absolutely dumbstruck the first time I heard it. I'll never forget. It was incredible. I was like, I think I was about 20, 21 when I heard it.
Yeah.
The Vousner's house on the giant stereo.
Yeah, he had those crazy speakers. I don't necessarily remember the first time I heard them, but I do remember that was at the time we were going to the Republic quite a bit. And they used to play that all the time, and you'd go there. So to try and paint the picture for the listeners that haven't, that aren't from this area or haven't been there, it's a smaller, dark kind of club.
Legendary.
Bomb shelter. It's a bomb shelter.
It was very much like a bomb shelter. It was really small, with a small bar, and it took forever to get a drink. But on Thursdays they'd have 75-cent triples.
Oh,
and we all know that there was not 3 shots of booze in there, but you'd get there early and you just start going up and you could order 2 drinks at a time, which is ridiculous. That's 6 ounces of booze theoretically, and you go up, you get 2 triples, and so like all 4 of us would be like in a rotation. Everyone's going to get triples, and then all of a sudden, your whole table, those round tables are just filled with triples. And then
like
you just sit
40
there. 40
triples.
Yeah, 40 triples.
Vodka slimes that glow in the dark. They're
That's right. Yeah.
The brightest
because the
green
water
drinks.
was fucking green.
Yeah, and you would just drink as many as you could, and then your buddies would come by, and you're handing them out because you can't possibly drink as many. But I remember, they used to play that album. There's probably 3-4 songs from that album all the time, and I remember just being there and the whole crowd just bouncing. Right, it's got that. At that time, you didn't really dance so much. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't moshing so much. There's a little bit of that, but it was. You always had this nice, really good bounce, and if your drink was half full, you could actually manage it, so you could be out there. But you're taking your life in your hands later on because there's so much booze spilled on that floor. You're gonna like tear an ACL or something if you're not careful.
It's funny you say 40 triples, Morrow. I think I mentioned this in a story before, but I remember one time 5 of us, because they shut that down by like 8 or 9 o'clock, but between 5 of us, we had 8 triples each, and we hadn't had one because we were busy just grabbing them. And we came back to the table when the time was done, and we looked down, there was 40 triples, and we were just like, holy shit, what have we done?
Yeah.
And then it was awesome.
And it didn't cost you very much money. And then, like you said, because it was until 9 o'clock, and then all your buddies who show up late,
if you showed up late, there was no room to put your drinks down.
No, you had to drink your way through it.
You
had to guard them.
You're double fisting it.
Yeah, you're just double fisting it, those thin, stupid little straws.
And they didn't give a fuck. They would keep serving you over and
over.
I was overserved on more than one occasion.
I agree. I agree.
There was no limits.
No.
It was like
They were
drink
good.
till you puke.
They were good at kicking you out of there. I got ejected once, and they didn't even lay a hand on me. Just gave you the nod, and I gave the nod back. Like, I understand. Can't smash glasses on the ground.
Well, we used to
Just put my head down, walk out. No, didn't even touch you. Just friendly escort out.
How very Canadian of us.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to park your van in the parking lot right behind there.
Oh, that's right. With the couch. We brought the rolling
couch,
clubhouse.
the couch, and the rolling clubhouse.
That's right.
That was amazing.
The cream
was
colored
amazing.
van. Yeah.
With the Coleman stove.
the stove.
And the pig nose amp with the guitar.
Could do, yeah. The red velvet couch. Yeah, we did stoves, so you could do blades.
That thing was the biggest heat score.
The pig nose. Yeah. No wonder I got busted on the way out to Invermere. The big Bob Marley sticker on the hood.
Yeah.
Nothing going on in here. Just some good music.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. All right. So
You did a show on that van, actually.
I bought the album. I was in Hawaii.
when?
And
Yesterday?
No, when I bought the album, the first when it came out.
Oh,
And
okay.
I bought it because of the cover.
Like the vinyl?
Oh, look
No.
at that.
No, I
You
have
bought
the
vinyl?
vinyl.
Back
I
in
have
the
the
day?
vinyl. I bought the CD, but I had no idea who they were. I'd never heard them, and it was like a new release.
You
But I
bought it because
loved-
of the cover art, right?
I saw the cover art. That's what caught my eye. And then when I looked on the back, it was produced by, like, I was big into the music producers and that at the time. So it was,
Yeah, you're a fanboy.
it was engineered by Andy Wallace. So, and then I was like, this got to be good. And I bought it, and I was like, I was quite shocked because I was like, I don't know if I like this or not. But it turns out, it was one of my favorite bands for a long time.
It's a very iconic album cover, too.
It is.
Right?
That was back in the day. I do miss that. We used to go to the record store. I think we've told this story on another
disturbing.
episode, but used to go to, the CD store or whatever and just leaf through stuff. I mean, there was no internet. It wasn't, you just started leafing through stuff. You had a bunch of money burning a hole in your pocket, and you'd buy stuff based on the cover art. And that was it. You're like, oh, this looks wicked. I'm going to give this a go. And then you'd listen to it and you're like, oh my God, that was horrible. Or, oh my God, you got to hear this. This is amazing. And that was one of those ones for you, Maura.
I went to the record store today.
All right, well, we'll get it.
And
we'll
I
get
left
into-
with nothing.
No way.
Yeah, I did.
You forgot your wallet.
In El Segundo.
No,
Good teaser.
no. I had 4 albums in my hand, and then I thought better of it and left.
All right. Well, we'll save that for another day because
That's a terrible story.
we want to get into it here. So this is the portion where we go over our top 10 list. Again, not best songs, but our favorite songs. So each guy will create their own top 20 list, and then we will run those lists through the patented Picks and Sticks algorithm, and then it ranks all those songs. And we like to talk about the top 10. Now, Rage Against the Machine, being the type of band they are, that they don't follow rules and they kind of do their own thing, they are bucking the usual Picks and Sticks trend, that there are actually only 10 songs in the top 10. I find that to be a complete outrage. But I guess that's what we're dealing with. So we've only got 10 in the top 10. It's been a while
Is
since
this the
that
first
happened.
time?
It's been a long freaking time since that's happened. So, going against the trend. So, number 10 on this list is from Evil Empire, a song called Revolver.
It's about walking into a mall
Is it?
or office
Seriously?
building, a high rise. Oh, the revolver doors, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
I was like,
wah, wah, wah. No, actually, that song's about wives fighting back. Don't mothers make good fathers? Because she blasted the abusive husband dead, so now she's the father. It's a good fatherly thing to do. Protect your kid by killing your abusive husband.
there you go.
Yeah,
Right.
fun song.
Fun song. There's a lot.
Guitar
like
in that
most of
song
them.
is unreal.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a common thread. I think what's funny was Gord. I thought that would have been a big song for Gord, but he was the only one that didn't have it on his personal list.
It was a tough out, buddy. It was a tough out.
I know Evil Empire is one of your favorite albums. Well, I mean, they've only got 4, so perhaps, it might be your favorite album or whatever. But anyway, that's Revolver. Great tune. Got to say it. It's a great tune.
Great tune.
Great tune.
Great tune.
It's a great tune. The number 9 song I wanted to get to because I'm very interested to hear this because it's a song from Renegades called I'm Housin'. And our rule is it's got to be better. And there's 2 guys. So Morrow and Cecil came in hot with I'm Housin'. And I need to hear the explanation on that because I don't feel like this is better than the original.
You don't?
I don't.
It's good. Well, it's got a killer bass line. Yeah. Sorry, Gord, go ahead.
I was going to say, as much as this song wasn't on my list, it pained me not to have it on there. And I do think it's better than the original in their defense.
It's different.
It's definitely not better than the original.
Different
but I still
enough,
had
though.
it
It's a
high on my
killer
list.
tune. Yeah.
Different enough. So for you,
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this.
Trying to tell you.
'Cause I'm going to get into it.
I'm trying to tell you.
Well, it's an EPMD song for people that don't know. And the original's better, for sure. But I think musically, it's one of their best songs, in my opinion. The guitar is just absolutely devastatingly heavy. And it's his best rapping on any song they've ever done, by far.
Really?
Probably because he's not
It's because,
nice.
He's
quiet
I'll
more
talker.
dispute that.
it's
I'm
the
gonna
best
dispute
rapping
that.
on any song, for sure. I can't.
Really?
I had it number 2, but
I found that surprising. I thought it was just kind of odd that your number 2 song would be a song that is a cover song. But hey, I guess that's kind of the theme for today a little bit anyway. So you got something?
You guys remember when the song came on around the campfire at Gord Stag?
Yes, I do.
We all started singing because we already brought him up in the show because I'm voused in.
And he thought it was he was so confused. Like, dude, they're saying, and he didn't know what to say. He thought it was literally about him. He was so gone.
2 best memories about that campfire that night, other than your brother falling over the cliff, surviving. But Vows did too. He busted out the Bon Jovi Wanted Dead or Alive. And as soon as it came to the first verse, every dude on the property started singing that song at the same time.
I'm surprised the cops didn't come that
Even
night.
Brad as he's falling down the stairs.
That's right.
It's all the same.
He broke his tailbone.
He did. There's some injuries, boys. That was a good game. Good game.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, so anything else on I'm Housin'?
Nope.
Not I'm Vousden. All right. Number 8, we're going back to Evil Empire. This is the first song that made the top 10 list that all of us had selected. Song's called Roll Right.
Mm-hmm.
I love this riff.
I'm like you, man. I love this riff. I don't know if I know a band that I like I already mentioned, that I can enjoy on 2 levels. And at this time, Roll Right is just a strictly riff. It's just an amazing riff. And I truly love this song. I'm surprised it made our top 10 because it's not one of the most popular songs off this album, Evil Empire, which is my favorite album, by the way, if I had to pick one. Mm-hmm. But there's just something about it. I don't know if I can't put my finger on it. I think it's the guitar. It's a little more straightforward and it's just fantastic.
You know what I think it is? They stole the music from Fletch.
From Fletch. Wow. That's a
No, it's completely different, but it's funny that when I heard the song,
I love that movie.
If you remember Fletch, it's not the theme music. I don't know what you'd call it, but it was. Remember back in the day, like they did that with Beverly Hills Cop. There was the Axel Foley music, like when he's by himself, he's investigating shit. That same music would play over and over again. Well, if you watch Fletch, it's different, but it's similar. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of cracked me up. Like when I hear that riff, and I love the riff, but it reminds me of the Fletch music for whatever reason. So
Good excuse to watch Fletch. Great
there's your homework
movie.
nobody's
mentioned the bass line.
Oh,
Bass line in that song.
The bass line is
ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
yeah, he's I mentioned earlier, underrated bass player. I mean, if you want something for pure fun, watch that award show. I can't remember the year. This is part of the reason the band broke up, actually.
Really?
They named Limp
Rickrolled
Bizkit
Limp
Metal or Hard Rock Act of the Year. And
climbed up
the
in a
bass player,
tree.
he was pretty drunk, and he climbed a scaffolding like on the side of the stage up to like this little perch of decorate. Like it was really high. It was like 25 feet. And he just sat there yelling, bullshit. Like he was upset they didn't get nominated, or they were nominated. They didn't win. And the other members of the band were absolutely mortified at his drunken behavior. But you know what? It doesn't matter when you play bass that good. Am I right?
He plays it high too. He needs to drop that thing down about 8-10 inches too.
He's got some good tats though, right? Like this the black sleeve. There's no design. It's just black.
He's obviously had some Tasmanian devil and bulldog tattoos before.
Oh yeah.
It's just solid black now.
Yeah.
You know, I find it funny that oddly enough, this, I call them a rhythm section, bass, drums, and guitar. They've played with like 5 different singers. Like they're the traveling band.
Yeah,
Fine.
true.
Yeah. And
Well,
they played with Zach. They played with Chris Cornell. They played with Be Real and
Oh yeah.
Chuck D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tom sang like,
Drummer played in the last Sabbath album.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, he was
That is true.
drummer on, was it 13?
Yeah. Yeah. Good solid tune. This is my one surprise of the top 10 guys, that this one made it. Because as I said, it's not like one of their top quote unquote hits, if they have any. So
It's one of my favorite songs.
I was really happy to see it there.
And the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And I think outside, I'm just looking at my list. Well, I was kind of heavy on that. This was from a ranking perspective, my third favorite song from that album. One of the other ones is probably not as well known either. So maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. As we get into number 7, what I thought I'd kind of throw this at you guys too, breaking format just a little bit.
How dare
So
you.
we're at number 7. And number 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2 are all from the same album. The first self-titled album. So I don't know if we want to go through each and every song, but maybe we can cherry pick a few. I'll list the songs. So number 7 is Wake Up, 6 is Bomb Track, 5 is Freedom, 4 is Killing in the Name, 3 is Bullet in the Head, 2 Know Your Enemy. Before I turn it over to you guys, I wanted to mention the 7 songs. So Wake Up, this is the song that when Morrow, you said that his Zach's best rapping was in I'm Housin', I would put forth respectfully an objection, and I would say that Wake Up in those verses, this song, I didn't like this song in the past because, as Cecil mentioned earlier, it's just a lot of screaming. The name at the end, like I was just like, I wasn't really into the song.
Did you
Then
see The
once I
Matrix?
listened- No, I haven't seen The Matrix. I might be the only guy on the planet. I actually haven't watched The Matrix.
Well,
You ever seen The Matrix?
The end of The Matrix, they just cranked this song like at 11. And what's the guy's name? Is it Nemo? Is he Nemo? His
Holy
character?
Christ.
Sorry, hey,
Are
look,
you fucking kidding?
yeah,
Nemo?
he's not Finding
I
Nemo.
love Finding Nemo.
But he's
Yeah.
looking
They
around.
played it in Finding Nemo?
No, they did not. But
Oh.
they play it in The Matrix at the end, and
Maybe
it's
I'm confused.
spectacular. Like it's the best ending to a movie since like Fight Club when they do that Pixie song.
Well,
Huff,
in any
huff,
event,
huff, huff.
I find the rapping in Wake Up, I think is his best work.
It's got a killer groove, and I would tell you that you're probably Yeah, I don't think it's his best. I think it's his second best, but it's pretty fucking good.
There you go.
Does this
I'd
remind
say-
anyone else
But
of
overall,
Kashmir?
like I gotta ask this
Yep.
question. It's driving me
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Okay.
Overall, like,
There's my notes. Where is it?
do you find that he's a
That's
good
the
rapper?
only thing I got for that song.
Like, where does he compare? And I don't think he's a rapper. He's kind of just a screamer, and he raps in between. Like where would he compare? And that's why I like the EPMD song, because frankly, because he didn't write it. EPMD wrote it, and they're fucking rhyming masters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I feel like Carlin would be a good guy to answer this because he's my go-to when I have rap questions.
Cecil's the hip hop / R&B guy.
When I'm undecided, I let him figure it out for me.
Country. No, I don't know. I'll never listen to them again. It's too much screaming. I like some of the licks, and I like Audio Slave, but I can't deal with being yelled at all the time. When we first started going through these songs, I went for a walk with the dog, and I got into about 4 songs. Well, I was listening to Rage Against the Machine, the first one. So the first 4 songs there are freaking awesome. And then came home and then started like getting really angry at the kids. I'm like, I was wound up. I was like, I go for a walk the dog.
Road rage.
I go walk the dogs to relax. It came back all PO'd. And then I know every time I was listening to them, I was getting grumpy. So I had to stop.
You know what? You touch on something there. They do bring out an emotional response in some people, and it's not always positive. I mean, this would be good if you're like on a sports team and you want to get jacked up and stuff and throw on some rage. But I had a question I was going to throw to the rest of you guys. Is it would seem by our top 10 list that this would be our favorite album, but I already said that mine was Evil Empire. I would suggest, just by looking at the scores here, that this might be everyone's second favorite album, because some of you seem to like the Battle of Los Angeles and the Cover Tune album.
And how did Rage Against the Machine end up 2, 3, 4,
we all
5,
disagreed
6,
that this
7?
album is our second favorite. Am I wrong? Or Carlin, what was your favorite album of the 4?
That's the cover
The
album.
Renegades, right? Yeah,
By
the cover.
far.
And what about you, Huffman?
Man, that's a tough one. I would say my favorite album is the first one, the self-titled album, my favorite one. But what I will say is that Evil Empire has 3 or 4 songs on it that are like really, really fucking awesome. The rest of the album doesn't do it for me. But I mean, with my personal list, I've got, my top 2 songs were from this album. 3 of my top 4 were from this album. 4 of my top 5 or 6, whatever it works out to be, were from this album. So I would have to say this is my favorite album.
Okay.
But Evil Empire has some songs, Viet Now, Roll Right, Down Rodeo, Revolver, and then, obviously Bulls on Parade. Like, there's some really, really fabulous tunes. But I think with the way the algorithm works, I think, obviously it just doesn't quite work out that way. But
How about you, Morrill?
I'd say, the first album's my favorite.
Okay.
But it doesn't necessarily, like, I can listen to the first album cover to cover. I can't really listen to any of the other ones cover to cover, but there's songs on both that I think are phenomenal. Like, we'll get into it later, but the Battle of Los Angeles is, pretty outstanding, and some of the songs are really good, and it didn't, it didn't even place on.
It doesn't crack the top 10, so it doesn't.
yeah, that's true.
I think it's a great album that we all like, but for whatever reason, we couldn't agree on what our favorite song, I think, off that album was, if I could pinpoint. Can I share with you one thing that I learned about Rage? And I thought I knew a lot. Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Before you get to that, just to further, I guess, prove your point, if you will. So Know Your Enemy ended up in the number 2 overall spot. And to give you an idea, I had that as my number 1 song. That's my favorite Rage song. Morrow had it number 1.
Yeah.
Gordo had it number 5.
Yep.
And Cecil didn't have it at all. So when you talk about how you see different albums and different things, like there's 2 guys that are saying this is my favorite song of theirs. You've got it in your top 5. One guy doesn't have it at all.
And that song's got the best singing on it.
And
But it's
did
not
you know
Zach singing.
It's not Zach.
I didn't know that was what I was going to say. I didn't know till 2 days ago that was Maynard James Keenan. I had no idea he's singing.
It was
didn't know
supposed
that
to
at all.
be
Tool,
supposed
man.
to be Perry Farrell too. He was asked to do it first, I think. But
Is that right?
there's Jane's Addiction bassist or drummer on that song too.
Oh, the drummer, Stephen Perkins. That's right.
Is that
He
right?
does
Yeah.
percussion. That's right.
I'm with you 100%, Huff. That is the best Rage Against the Machine song. Love it.
It's awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
And it's because of the riff, right?
It is because of it. It's the whole composition of the song, quite frankly. Like the riff is amazing, no doubt about it, right? But even there's not really a chorus. The chorus is really just that sort of know your enemy, and then it just goes right dun, and then when it kicks it like there's a flow to it that just brings this kind of energy that like
Thank you.
just
Yeah, I
gets
agree.
inside you. Like
Isn't
it is
and isn't this
well-written
song sneaky? It starts off with that okay, it does that for a while, then the bottom drops out, and all of a sudden it's the grooviest song ever. Like it's just such a conventional when you think about a Rage song, but they write their songs so unconventional. That's the brilliance of the band, I think.
Well, it's totally. Oh man, that single note riff is like a total Jimmy Page thing. Total
Yes.
Jimmy Page, total Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. And guys don't get a lot of credit for using those single note guitar riffs, but he fucking knocks it like way out of the park in this one.
Was getting his credit today, brother.
Yeah.
And the bass intro is wicked too.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a well written song.
Anyway, I have no fucking clue what the song's about. What is it about?
It's about the U.S. touting itself as the land of the free, yet it's really an elitist empire.
Yeah,
Whoever told you that is your enemy.
It's about the media helping out to like a lot of the themes in the songs. It's like I think it's about the media helping out to confirm your freedom, which you really don't have, and so you got to know your enemy. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well,
everywhere.
Coming in at number 5 was Freedom, and I thought it was about divorce, but I read the lyrics and it's not.
Is that what you played as you signed the last papers? You just drove home at 120K, cranking the Freedom,
Yeah, divorce
ripping darts.
Divorce is an investment in freedom.
It is.
It's got a lot of lease fucking payments.
It's expensive freedom, but all freedom is. You always pay a price.
That's true. You do pay a price for freedom.
It is kind of funny how we have a lot of those songs off that album just mashed together in the upper visit, right? And they're all very similar themes, right? Like I said, you can enjoy this band on 2 levels. A lot of people don't care for their lyrics, and that's totally understandable. But they're very, obviously very socially active socialists, if you will. They're very anti-establishment, probably the most anti-establishment band maybe ever. So if you enjoy that type of thing,
why are they so
knock yourself-
fucking negative? I don't understand. Why are they so fucking
Because
so negative? Like
They're
what?
caught between the culture
Why?
and the system.
But what's this problem? Like things are getting better. Evidence everywhere. The world is getting better, and he's
One thing.
he's just focused on the little problems. There was
One thing that might help. Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Talking
no,
over
I was
the
example.
Gordcast continues.
When I was at Harvard, we did a study where we
On the female
listeners
species?
don't know who I am, so no, it's a real study about. Well, I'm probably digressing too much, but
No. Get it out, Cecil.
Okay, well,
Get it out, brother.
okay, that makes. It's about
I don't
perception.
want you to go.
Okay.
I don't want you to leave the podcast and get angry with the kids again.
Oh, okay, so you might want to edit this out. Okay, so they did
Is it about beating off?
They did an experiment about okay, this might take a while. So there's a bunch of dots, and they said only count the blue dots, and then they there's other colors too, green and purple, and then they do less and less and less blue dots. So as the blue dots get less, they start picking out green and purple dots. So what they're saying is their definition of a blue dot gets bigger. So then they started doing threatening images and threatening faces. All right. So then as that diminishes, the definition of a threatening face, somebody sitting there all neutral, just becomes a threatening face. Okay. So then they told the people what the experiment is, and they still were picking green and blue dots and little threatening faces. Then they paid them money. So we'll give you $10 if you only pick the blue dots. And they kept expanding their definition of blue dots. The link is social problems. They seem more prevalent as they're diminishing. So that as these social problems go away, then people are making them bigger. So what they're saying is activists with they're focused on little things and making them worse. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you got to have an even keel approach.
I hear you.
Here's some stats I looked up.
I got to be honest.
Since Rage Against the Machine came out in the 90s, world extreme poverty, 1990, 1.6 billion were under the poverty line. Now it's 650 million. That's changed 35% to 11% of the world. Global hunger is on the decline. Child labor has been reduced 40%. Working hours have been on the decline for 100 years. Since 1990, the world's life expectancy has gone up 6 years. There's less homicide, less violent crime, rapidly reduced nuclear supply. 1/3 of the world used to be autocratic, now mostly democratic. Abortion's all-time low. There's gains for LGBTQ, racial minorities, women. So really, they should have a song called "Steady as She Goes" or something like that.
Well, maybe Rage's message got out. Maybe people are listening and the world's changing because of it. Who knows?
Fuck me.
Fuck no, man. They're
Our
Downer.
research team bill is going to be like a fucking $1,000.
I will say this, and I read this or heard this in a few different documentaries or features that I saw, is that their album came out right around the time of the Rodney King trials, and that can't be like underestimated, like that rage, if you will, in LA at the time, combined with that album talking about righteous, rage. It was a powder keg for them. Like, I'm not saying they capitalized because they recorded that album before any of that happened, but it was just the timing was very unique for when it came out. Like the city was rioting and burning shit, and then that album came out right around the same time.
Well, bullet in your heads about government using media to control the population and influence the population. Isn't kind of that what Rage Against the Machine is doing?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Bit of it.
Yeah. They didn't say no to the big record deal. So I don't know.
I don't know. You know what? I'll challenge you on that. Just I don't find them hypocritical. They've made a lot of money off of their righteous rage, absolutely. But I know they still attend protests and they do all those things. Like, they broke up the band so Zach De La Rocha could go down to Mexico full time and help out one of his I call it a pet project, but he was helping out the Zapatistas or whatever in Mexico. Like, it seems to me like the band puts their money where their mouth is, and that they're not hypocritical like some other Hollywood stars that like to talk about shit and then they're living in their fucking Hollywood mansion. I would suggest these guys actually live what they're, or practice what they preach, but you feel otherwise, that's cool.
Maybe less hypocrisy, but lately this too fanatical. You know what I mean? I'm more of a even keel, have a conversation to solve the problem. Don't scream at me and fucking tell me what to do.
I would totally agree.
That's what they said. But they're
I would
telling
totally
me what
agree
to do.
with you.
I don't get it.
The world to them is very black and white. Absolutely.
You know what? I gotta be honest. I don't listen to this band for the lyrics or the singing.
Me either.
Not like, yeah. I almost have to ignore it, and then I enjoy it.
Really?
And then I enjoy it because I enjoy the grooves and I enjoy the aggressiveness. You know, it's kind of like that punk metal-y, hip-hop-y, but Zach in general, I don't like him, and I don't even know him, so I don't know how I can say that, but I don't think
You don't like
he's
his style.
I don't think he's a great rapper. I don't think he's a great writer. I think what happens with Rage is they're such a good unit together that it works.
Yeah.
And you know, all the other stuff, are they hypocritical or not? I don't know. He's worth probably $25 million. Is he a hypocrite? I don't give a shit.
No, they do. I remember reading about what, I forgot about this till you brought up the $186 ticket. And I thought that was crazy. So at the time, a while ago, I read what they do with the money. And they do good with those high priced tickets. So
They do. They donate a lot of money to every city they're in. As I said, this is the ultimate polarizing band. Sorry, Huffman, if I can just wrap this thought up.
Yeah.
They're the ultimate polarizing band. You can enjoy them on the musical level, which is what many do, and you can ignore the political messaging, which is too much for some, and I totally get that. For me, I think at the very least, it's thought-provoking, and I don't agree with a lot of what Zach De La Rocha says, but it makes me think about things a little different, which I guess is kind of cool. Whether I agree with it or not, probably not. But it makes me think about things a little differently, which I can appreciate on that level.
well, the system seemed to work better for him than me. So I don't know why he's so mad.
Amen, brother.
Where's your stacks of money?
Yeah.
I was going to say more just before I forget. I don't know if you've listened to any or a lot of Street Sweeper Social Club, which is Tom Morello, and there he's got like some really great riffs and stuff in there. But if you want something a little more hip hoppy with a guy, the frontman, if you want to call it, the guy that does the raps, it's a guy by the name of Boots Riley, I think his name is.
Oh yeah, why is that so familiar?
I never heard of this.
They had a hit. I think it was. I want to say it was 100 little curses, 1,000 little curses, 100 little curses. I think it was called. Anyway, they've got a full length album and they've got an EP. They did a couple of cover tunes. One was LL Cool J's.
Go back to Cali?
No. No, Mama Said Knock You Out.
Oh yeah.
And they did a nice job on that. But anyway,
to Cali, might know.
but Boots Riley, I really like his style. He's got some very clever writing and stuff. So if there's people out there looking for things other than Zach,
Well,
but
Prophets
want
of Rage is
some
good
hip-hop.
too.
Prophets of Rage is great. I like the
How
way
can you
they
go wrong with Chuck
reworked.
D and Be Real? Like
They reworked
legends.
a lot of those songs really, really well.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like
All
we're
right,
ready
so-
for our number one song, Huffman.
The number one song from Evil Empire is Bulls on Parade. And
Shit.
right, get out your Guitar Hero or Rock Band or whatever it was, and play along. But
Dude,
you know
this
this
is a power metal, power rap, new metal, whatever you want to call it. This is
is your number one song, Gordo.
This is an outrage anthem. And they do it with such funk and finesse. Like, let's just put aside all the political messaging in this song. It's a great title, Bulls on Parade. I enjoy that, but maybe not everyone does. But the actual song itself is masterful. They could be singing about
good tune.
They could be singing about their 65 Mustang, whatever. Their last girlfriend. It doesn't matter. The song itself, the music, how they put it together, the solo. Jason, I'll let you comment on the solo, but the way they put that wow, waka, 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 it is fucking unbelievable. A well-deserved number one song, boys. I'm so glad we came up with this one.
it's an
It's a-
infectious
yeah.
groove.
It is.
I used to remember in my 70 Cutlass, the blue one.
Yeah.
I had the big fucking subs in the trunk. And I used to crank it. I remember going over to, I remember one day driving over to Cecil's when he lived in the seniors home.
Oh
The seniors complex.
What is that? You had to be. Oh yeah, you couldn't be under 18 living.
I forgot.
And I'm driving around the seniors complex with that thing fucking cranked. Subwoofers blasting.
So let me paint a picture. It was where I lived was with my mom, and she moved away to Toronto before she sold her place. So I lived in a duplex in a adult living complex, and these and these guys who live across the field. We're in the height of party age. We're 18, 19. Every night, I just remember watching the three silhouettes walking across the field, and then we get all messed up. But it was a full circle, and we used to have like rollerblade races around there and dirt bikes. Skateboarding, dirt bike racing around the track. Oh yeah,
I don't know how you didn't get kicked out of there.
We used to fire your BB, that pellet gun in the garage, and it would bounce off of stuff and just about kill somebody.
That's right.
The fucking BB gun or the pellet gun, whatever it was, just ripping off rounds.
We moved in. The neighbor that shared the duplex of the other, the same building, she came over, was so nice, and never talked to us ever again. Took only a couple days.
Yeah. She knew what was going on.
So what did you like about the Song Boys? You Mauro and I talked about, like, what is it, just the riff or like what?
What song?
Yes, all of the above.
Bulls on Parade. Like what
I
makes
thought we already addressed this. Did you?
Well,
did you pass out?
Carlin didn't really mention, other than the pissing off the old people. Like, what was it, the
Carlin,
groove or what?
Cecil
that was the beauty of it.
He hates it.
He hates it. It's too righteous.
Too yell.
All right.
The riff
fine.
again. That's what this band is, and we kind of said it off the top. We kind of knew that was going to happen. It's just there's so many awesome riffs, and not like the guitar, the bass, some of the bass lines, awesome, and I guess Zach doesn't fuck up the vocal too bad.
Mm-hmm. I was on my way to Ducci's one time. Another time, I had it cranked in the Cutlass. I was in the parking lot. I stopped at, I think it was Burger King.
Nice.
It was about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and
Too much mayo.
I had it I was, smoking a dart, sitting in the car, and this old fucking guy comes over and starts screaming at me. This is bullshit. You should be turning the music down. That's terrible fucking music. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What?
Anyway.
That's hilarious. You got
folks.
shamed for listening to Rage.
Those Burger King folks getting accosted. All right. Well, that's the top 10 list.
Never happens at Wendy's.
Now I'm the old guy screaming at people.
Yeah. Turn that crap down when he's playing.
Oh, that's me.
know.
Jesus. I became a Van Morrison diehard fan the last week. How old
Van
am I
Morrison.
getting? God damn it.
Yeah. So Rage Against the Machine turned you into a pussy.
Exactly. Exactly. Totally. Wow.
All right. So I think I would suggest, I don't know if there were any egregious omissions.
Yeah, there was.
Oh,
Excellent.
Well, I got to ask you guys this, because why is Testify and Guerrilla Radio not somewhere close to our list? Like,
Good question.
True.
Yeah.
where did
So off the Battle for Los Angeles, they should have. Guerrilla Radio came in at 18,
yeah.
and
What was the other song?
Testify.
Oh, Testify only. I think you were the only one that had it on your list.
So maybe it's not egregious.
well,
You know what
I will say something though. Huff, you had a song, and I'm regretting that I did not have it very high on my list, and that was Ashes in the Fall.
oh, yeah,
Huge oversight.
I was saying that before the podcast started. I totally missed that.
I'm glad you noted that. Every now and then, I've got some song on my list that is either completely out of left field, and sometimes it gets love, sometimes it doesn't. And this is maybe the second time that's come to light that's a song, and it's later on in that album. So when you think, taking out the cover album, the Renegades, this is off the Battle of Los Angeles. It's later in the album, and I don't know why, if it just kind of got buried within the catalog. It's not like it's a a large catalog. I just can't believe that this isn't a more popular song. This was I had this number 3 on my list. So I went Know Your Enemy, Bullet in the Head, Ashes in the Fall, then Killing in the Name, and Bulls on Parade. Those are my top
If I could
5.
have a do-over, it'd be in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I would have had it bumped up too. That was a good call, Huffman. So
I
Yeah.
hate that song. It sounds
That's our
like
11th song.
fingernails on a chalkboard.
I
You know,
agree. The intro
and
is
this-
not nice.
And there's sirens in it. It's just kind of. I like the low.
Yeah, you know, I found a few, and Gordon and I talked about this a little bit before, like last week, I think it was. This is one of those bands, again, that if you're in the wrong mood, you don't like any of these songs,
No,
Absolutely.
that's true.
right? And when I first, to your point, Cease, the first time I heard the song, I was like, I hated the intro and I was just going to skip it. And I just let it play. And then once you get into the meat of the song, I was like, this is really fucking good. And the more I listened to it, the intro didn't bug me as much because I loved the rest of the song so much.
Yeah.
So that's
Maria
kinda,
is the same way. Maria is.
yes.
It's very grating, and then the chorus is just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I don't know if there's any other egregious omissions.
I'm motivated to listen to a couple more songs. I'll try those out a little longer, and then never
Yeah.
listen to them again.
I might throw Renegades of Funk in there.
Yeah.
For me, that's the only song from Renegades that made my list. Actually, no, there is one more, but that's the song that I would say definitely is better. It was funny. I listened to all the originals. So I went through all the songs on Renegades. I listened to all the originals and listened to the Rage version, so I could definitely know whether or not it was an improvement. And 1,000%
Yeah.
Renegades of Funk. It's not even close. Great song.
Africa
it did-
Bambaataa. He's like credited with inventing rap. Him and
Yeah, dude.
DJ Kool Herc, right? They're
Yeah.
like the two OGs
Oh, is that
of
right?
rap. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Renegades of Funk came in at 14.
That's from like
It's-
Jesus
it's-
of rap.
It's on the list. So deep cuts. Who wants to go first on the deep cuts?
I'll go.
All right.
Wind Below off Evil Empire.
Nice.
And I have that with Year of the Boomerang off Evil Empire, but Wind Below was really my deep cut.
Yeah, it's great songs. Good
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah. Yeah, that was close to. I don't think it ended up making my list, but it was definitely close. Cease, my man,
Oh, 2 cover songs. One of the biggest,
you love that album, eh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I
One
couldn't
of-
get into it, but
one of the biggest one-hit wonders. I sure wish they had a bigger catalog. Was from MC5, "Kick Out the Jams." That song's been covered a lot. Black Flag or Henry Rollins, I can't remember which one, but Rollins has a cover of that, whether with Black Flag or himself. It's pretty good.
okay.
Not better than the original. I'm sorry, but it's such a good song. It's just too good to pass on. And then
We'll
Da-
allow it.
Down on the Street, just because of
Yes.
how much I love the Stooges now. So that's a good cover, and they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I still like the original, but it's it's different enough. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was on my deep cuts list as well. I'm not you're a Stooges guy. I'm not a Stooges guy. But
You are a
that's-
stooge, though.
A Stooge.
definitely, yeah. But that song is really, really, really good. My deep cuts one, I'm not so sure it would classify because I hate to go back to the album that we already have a bunch of stuff on, but I have to go with Fistful of Steel.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's
Fistful of
Fistful of
Steel.
Steel. I'm surprised Carlin doesn't like that one better.
I really like
I'm too
that.
old now. It's Fistful of Rubber.
I really like the groove Anyway, the other
I bet.
I had the song. I'm all rattled now. The song that was already mentioned, Maria.
Well,
We've already talked
Fistful of
about
Steel
that.
and Maria.
And then I had Ashes in the Fall, which I think is in the top 20 anyway. It came in at number 20, so technically it's already on the top 20. So I just wanted to give it a little bit more love. But anyway, that's it for me.
My turn, buddy.
Yeah, Goro, you finish it off.
Well, I have three, and I just want to highlight two that are in the 11 to 20 range, and then one that didn't make the list. So, it came in at number 12, Snake Charmer off of Evil Empire. I don't know what it is about this song, but the drumming alone and just how they make four distinct parts into one cohesive song, like four great riffs, is amazing. I just absolutely love
Snake Charmer, yeah.
You put the full court you had the sales pitch. It was like it was like your guy was going for the Heisman and you're sending out letters and shit. You were going, and I was not picking up what you were putting down.
And that's
Sorry.
fine, but Snake Charmer was right there for me. But to pick up where Cecil was on the Renegades album, I had Microphone Fiend really high. And to be clear, I don't love the entire song, but I will say the bridge portion of that song is my favorite Rage riff ever. It's not true to the original.
Really?
And it is so good. The way Zach whispers, and then they just come in, it is absolutely the heaviest thing Rage has ever done. Really good.
Really? Okay.
That's a good story too. That's just the lyrics to that is
Do tell. I
that's-
don't know the whole story.
Oh, it's just Eric B and Rakim, right? Rakim's one of the most respected MCs ever, I believe. He's got
Moro was a big Eric B. and Rakim fan back in the day.
just the anyways, it's just him going out to do his like early stages of his live rap shows. I don't know. You got to hear it, I guess.
It's great.
Right. Yeah.
My last one that didn't make the top 20 is Sleep Now in the Fire. It's a very much more traditional song that Rage typically doesn't write, and I don't know what it is. I just sleep down the fires. It's when they play live. It's right in their library every time. It's a great song.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty.
Hey man, what the hell are you laughing at? What's so fucking funny, Moro? You laughing at me?
I was just laughing at you when you were talking about Snake Charmer.
So is the dog.
The dogs.
Dog's laughing at you too.
The protective dogs, eh? As soon as we start making fun of Gord, the dogs get all protective.
They sense
and
it,
angry.
man. They'll bite your
They know.
nuts.
They're like, listen to these clowns. All right. Well,
Dog peed on my guitar case today.
Which
I've
one?
never seen
I
him
wasn't
so
even
scared.
laughing.
Which dog?
Pablo. They yelled at him for it, and he just went flat to the ground, ears down, like, "Oh, what have I done?" I'm like, that's right. It's the guitar case.
Son of a
Didn't get
bitch.
through the guitar though, so I'll let him live.
That's why we wrap
gotta
it
get
up,
some
buddy.
training. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's Rage Against the Machine. That was a longer episode probably than we anticipated, but hopefully well worth it. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please tell your friends, your family, neighbors, coworkers about it. We definitely appreciate your support. Don't forget, you can email the show at picksandstickspodcast@gmail.com. We may even feature your email in an upcoming episode of Gord's Pouch. Make sure you don't miss an episode. Subscribe to the Picks and Sticks podcast. You can find us everywhere that you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Amazon, Pandora. We are everywhere. Don't be afraid to... I want to mention, don't be afraid to leave a 5-star rating or a positive review. You can do that on Apple or Podchaser. So what's coming up next? I mentioned that we're kind of looking at some different ideas, some format ideas, and the next episode we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to go back in time. There's a 30-year anniversary of an album that I think a lot of people loved. It was really a groundbreaking album called Facelift by Alice in Chains. We're going to tackle that one. And then following that, we will return to our 10 Great Songs format. We're going to go Tribe Called Quest. We kind of teased that a little bit.
Yeah.
Some guys are mentioning that we've been listening to some Tribe. I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be interesting. They've got quite a cool catalog, and it's a long one too. Jesus,
It is long.
it is. There's a lot of material in there, but in any event, that's it. That's all. Thanks very much for listening, and until next time. See you.